we really sold off terribly Friday until the last half hour. I think this is a continuation of what looked like a short cover rally. I think there are a lot of people who are betting that no matter what happens, it's going to be contested, so therefore the market has to go down. So why not just come in short? My problem with that is, what happens if it's actually not contested? What happens if it's a landslide for either side? But the reason I point that out is because if you're really just betting on a contested election, it's entirely possible that even with our 24-hour coverage, it's entirely possible that you actually get some resolution. And if you get a resolution, even if, say, one of the candidates, President Trump, contests it, you're going to say, well, why didn't I buy something? And, David, you know, certainty is what people really crave here. We don't have any, but we will in 3 days.
Yes, we may. We hope to. I mean, it is, to your point, it's possible. And, again, those who follow these things very closely, Jim, will say more likely that a Biden victory will show up more early than would because, you know, if Biden were to win unexpectedly Texas, for example, or even Florida, one of which is quite tight, the other of which is not quite as tight. So it would be unexpected, certainly Texas, but you never know, given how many votes they got early. I mean, more than they exceeded their vote totals from 2016 with the early voting in the state. Then you could imagine a scenario under which we would know quickly. If, however, it's going to default to Pennsylvania, which, to your point, has 3 days after Election Day in which to count, ballots, by the way, that had been received prior to or on Election Day, then it could take some time. North Carolina, as well, is one of those states that will have a few days also. Right.
Well, we know, Carl, that Michael Semblis from J.P. Morgan put out a great piece this weekend, which just says, what happens if President Trump says that anything after Election Day doesn't count? And then it goes to a legislature. The legislature agrees with Trump. That's the real problem. If you're trying to get certain.
What legislature, though? I mean, these are the state laws that are in place. So it wouldn't be the state. What legislature would actually overrule what they already had as state law in terms of how they count ballots that, again, have been lawfully received prior to election day?
Well, it goes with Trump. I'm just saying that there's a situation where it's entirely possible that there's no votes after Election Day because the president doesn't want any.
Again, people will have voted prior to Election Day.
Right, but a Friday
You're saying
vote.
They'll stop the counting.
A Friday vote.
What do you mean a Friday vote?
Well, you're allowed to. Pennsylvania is letting you vote late.
No, that's not right.
Well, if it's not counted.
All the votes will have been taken place. You can't vote after Election Day and send it in and have it counted.
Well,
that's not true.
No, it has to be dated by Election Day. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, what happens if it's not counted?
What happens if it's not counted?
And that's exactly
what Trump wants to.
That's exactly what officials in Philadelphia are saying. It's going to take days to count. Jim, but I guess more broadly here, we're going to be talking about vote counting for the next 48 hours at least.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.